Here's a question for y'all. Would you go through thick and thin to save one of your family members in a hurricane? Think about this case scenario. You get a phone call from your family members. It could be your mom, your dad, your grandmother, and they call you saying, "Help! I got nowhere else to go." Then imagine this: you have to risk everything to take a 20 to 30-hour drive to save your family members from a hurricane that's going to be coming in your way. Well, in Florida, there's a hurricane in Florida. Hurricane Milton is coming to Florida, and the person you're about to meet drove for 20 hours to save her grandmother from the hurricane. Take a look.
Pray for me. Pray for me.
This woman is on a mission saving Granny from Hurricane Milton.
16 hours. We have 16 hours in this car until we get to my grandmother.
Jennifer Seaman's road trip to Florida is more grueling than she ever imagined. When everyone else is evacuating, but you're driving straight into it to get your 93-year-old grandmother, she posted. Accompanied by her mom, Sue, they left Peoria, Illinois at 10 p.m. Sunday night. They drove through Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia. It took 20 long hours without stopping before they finally arrived in Venice, Florida.
Hello? And there's Grandma.
Yep, there's Granny, safe and sound in the car with her courageous loved ones.
Grandma, how scared were you hearing these hurricane reports come in and you knew you had no way to escape?
Well, it's no fun being by yourself.
After they made it to Granny's home, they needed to get out of there and fast before the hurricane hit. But what they found as they tried to return to Illinois was chaos.
Gas stations were out of gas. People were fighting to get gas. One car tried to run another guy over, fighting over gas.
On the road, they encountered gridlock.
It was bumper to bumper. You couldn't get off the interstate.
We probably sat on 75 for maybe 8 hours total last night until we decided to get off the main road.
Well, we get quite tired.
Every rest stop was filled up. Their road trip went viral with 12 million views. She's everybody's grandma now, and we need to know she's safe, goes one comment.
It's nice to see the kindness of people.
I spoke to mom, daughter, and grandma during a pit stop in Atlanta.
Mom and I have been in the car for about 36 hours.
After a brief nap in a hotel, they were on the road again, and at 5 a.m. this morning, they finally arrived home in Peoria. There's Granny getting a special escort into the home by a very relieved son-in-law.
She's home.
Props to those people out there for saving little Granny. I would say my grandma too from a hurricane, but that's a whole different story. Yeah, it is common sense out there. Like we talked about with evacuations. Evacuations are for your own good when it comes to hurricanes. If you stay, here's common sense for you. Our common sense alert says, I mean, it's like this. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving at all. Why? If you stay, you're on your own. When power goes out, you're on your own. If your house is flooded, you're on your own. If you got no one to take care of you, you're on your own. Evacuation is for your own good. If the next hurricane season approaches, you have some time to come up with your evacuation plans. When hurricane season is over, you have several months from now to come up with your plan. If you still have your plan put in place, then plan in plan B, just in case. We made it through a bunch of hurricanes here in Texas, here in Corpus. We survived Harvey, we survived Hannah, we survived Ethel, Burton. I don't know the other ones. But let me tell you, we survived a lot of hurricanes because of one man upstairs. He gave us that faith. And for those who want to come up here and say, well, I'm not going to leave. And people are just saying in the comments, well, I have respect for the mom and her dog risking so much for the grandma. Hell yeah. No one leave a grandma behind. No grandma left behind. Remember not no child left behind law. That's incredible. Prayers up to the elderly and sick, and shut-ins and have anyone to rescue them out. It's good they rescue grandma and got out of Florida just time before the Hurricane Milton. Grandma is beautiful and glowing like an angel. This is a really scary situation. Let's hope it doesn't get too bad. God bless the people of Florida. Grandma looks and moves very well at 93. God bless them. Why was Grandma living so far away from any family to begin with? This is what you do for your elderly in your family. Not forget about them. Or say, oh, well, it's self-way, a long drive. I got to work too much, traffic, etc. You have to take time out of your day to help out your grandparents, even especially your parents. You can't abandon your mom and dad because you're busy. Take time out of your schedule. Like if a hurricane approaches and your family dies, well, it sucks to be you because you didn't have much time. You're sitting out there drinking with your buddies and you're working that 9-to-5 job. Take time out of your day to help out your parents. Check in on them. There's a hurricane, get your ass in your car and go get them. I don't care if you're too busy or not. Tell your boss, and maybe he or she can understand. It's how you know, fight back. But the bottom line here is this. Evacuations are for your own good. If you stay, you're on your own. That's all I gotta say. Still ahead, imagine being a teacher and come out to your students as gay. That's what one teacher did, and you're going to hear all the stories and all the sides of the tale about the reactions. Stay with us. There's now a crime spree happening to where Legos are being stolen. No, not from kids, by thieves. And as you are about to see, it's the case of these people not just stealing boxes. It's the case of Lego theft. It's happening all over the country as we even speak. And as you're about to see from these security footages, the question is, why are shoplifters stealing boxes of Legos? Maybe it could be for their kids. Maybe we have little kid robbers, little juveniles that want to steal Legos, but they don't have the money to pay for them. Well, like I said before, the footage you're about to see could even answer that question for you. Here's Lisa Rudolph. Here's Lisa Guerrero. Sorry about that. The footage you're about to see could even wind up being Lego theft. Here's Lisa Guerrero.
A Lego crime spree is sweeping the country. Brazen bandits broke into all these stores in Los Angeles.
Thieves hitting Lego stores across Southern California.
This is not a warehouse. Cops say it's a home jammed with stolen Lego sets. More than 2,800 boxes were discovered here.
Because Lego produces its sets in limited numbers, experts say some of the rarer sets can sell for thousands of dollars.
So this is from 2003. This is the Cloud City set, which is kind of the holy grail of Star Wars fans' collections. There was about 3,500 of these made back in the day because people looked at it and said, $100 for a Lego toy? No way. But now it's, pushing 10 grand because of the condition of the box and the collectability of this.
Doug Davis, owner of It's a Block Party in Indianapolis, says the problem has gotten so bad, his staff now carry guns to protect their Legos.
We have multiple alarm systems that are all monitored. We have panic buttons. Our employees pack every day, so they're armed. We don't show them off or anything, but we have them. Hopefully praying we would never have to use one.
Columbus, Ohio Lego store owner Kelly Casto says that Lego store owners try to look out for each other.
An acquaintance that I met at a Lego convention, he had his trailer stolen that had his own custom display with lights in it and motors and all of that. And he sent me pictures.
Then when a customer later called looking to sell the same set, he says he became immediately suspicious.
He comes into the store with the set. The first one he brings in is the Ferris wheel. It has lights on it. I knew right away it was what it was. But then he brings in the next one, and it comes in a box. And the box literally had the gentleman's name on it that, okay, I have to call the deputies this is stolen merchandise. They proceeded to leave as I was talking to the deputy.
Casto says his store was also broken into during the pandemic, but the thief was never caught.
I think Legos are highly desirable, and I think one of the reasons why Legos are such a target of theft is because if you have a reseller that's willing to buy them easily, that makes it a target for thieves to go in and steal them because they know they can get rid of them and turn them into quick cash.
This mountain of stolen Legos is worth $200,000. It was discovered by cops in Oregon following a sting operation.
During these theft stings, we were arresting people who we found were stealing a lot of Lego thefts. And in interviews with them, we found that they were selling them all at the same place in downtown Eugene.
So where did that pile of pilfered Legos come from? Cops say a 3-month-long investigation led them here to Brick Builders, where, according to a search warrant, the store's owner was knowingly purchasing and reselling Lego sets that had recently been stolen from local retailers like Target and Walmart.
The owner of Brick Builders, Eamon Henriksen, is now awaiting trial on retail theft charges. We tried to ask him a few questions at his home, but nobody answered the door.
Stuff's going to keep getting more and more expensive. People are going to want it. I don't see it going away. So you're going to have to be prepared for this.
And always be prepared. Lego theft is happening everywhere you go. That's why people steal, because, Legos are really expensive. They want to steal, and that's why that is happening, because they want to steal and sell stuff for prices. That's what can lead to a life of crime. And that's why kids are not going to school. You've heard me say this often enough. I'm going to say it to you again. If your child does not go to school, not only will they be homeless, but they'll turn to a life of crime. Just one day, because when your child doesn't go to school, they're not just out hanging with their friends. They're breaking into houses, breaking into cars, doing drugs and alcohol, things of that nature. And back in 2003, if your child didn't go to school, not only would you, the parent, be arrested, but the child could be placed in juvie. Arresting kids for 3 days in the Montgomery County Jail. And it's proven in every community that you live in. It wasn't dreamt up. They didn't make that happen. Because y'all might be sitting there saying, well, he's just making this up. No, it's not being made up. It happens in every state. Texas, California, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, Indiana, Ohio. Every state that you live in, kids are not going to school. They're just out committing crimes. Burglarizing homes. Breaking into houses, breaking into cars, doing drugs. They're not sitting at home eating popcorn. That's what's happening nowadays. And, over 70% of Texas inmates had first run with the law with truancy. That's why kids are not going to school these days. And nowadays, it's like, what do we do? I mean, if you see someone selling retail goods, talk to somebody. Don't play the blame game about this. It's not good. Not good at all. Up next, a teacher. Teacher comes forward with his students saying that he's gay. Would you ever imagine having the same reaction as these students did? Dennis Murphy with the story. Stay with us. How would you feel if your child came home from school and she told you that her teacher came out saying that he was gay? How would you react? And as students, the question for you is, how would you feel if you went into a class, heard this in the classroom? Your teacher came up to you and says, I'm gay. It's not often we hear stories about teachers getting fired for just announcing to the class that he or she, that he's gay or homosexual. But in one town we're going to visit, That was the controversy years ago. His name is Rodney Wilson. That was the controversial story. It's not like coming out of the closet and saying, "Mom, I'm pregnant." Or that's not often the big news. There's a difference between saying I'm gay and I'm pregnant. I mean, that's basically how it is. Like I'm gonna explain this at the end of the story. At the end of the story. Here's Dennis Murphy.
News Talk 1120, KMOX.
Charles Brennan, Friday morning. Rodney Wilson is with us today. History and social studies teacher at Melville High School. School was out for the summer, but a suburban St. Louis teacher was the talk of the town.
My children are not allowed to pray in school. They're not allowed to talk about God. Where does he get off?
And as students returned to Melville High, controversy still swirled around 29-year-old Rodney Wilson.
No wonder our children are ignorant if that's what's being discussed in the classroom.
Absolutely. A teacher shouldn't be talking about his personal...
So they shouldn't... Okay, well, if you...
Despite 4 years of glowing performance reviews, Wilson's teaching career may be in trouble. His job security could be on the line because of something he said to his students.
I simply stated a fact that would be similar to saying, I have this color eyes, or I'm 6 feet tall. That's it.
Mr. Wilson's third period class of juniors had been watching the film Escape from Sobibor, part of a lesson about the Nazi Holocaust. Jason Lewis, Mary Turner, and Susan Stolarski were in that class.
We were just like all basically in like a big old circle from watching the movie and stuff. He turned the movie off and pulled up a desk, sat in front of the whole class, and just, he started talking a little bit about the movie and showed the poster.
And he had this whole poster board of different patches and things that they would give the Jewish people on their arms and stuff to like separate them. And
it included a pink triangle with the letter B standing for a Belgian homosexual. I simply said to my students, as a way of putting a human face on this atrocity, I said to my students, as a gay person, I would have been forced to wear the pink triangle. I would have been among the persecuted groups.
It was dead silence. I mean, just complete silence. And
everybody kind of was real quiet, and he started asking us how we felt about it. And
someone started clapping, and the whole class just started clapping and saying, "Oh, Mr. Wilson, that was so brave. I'm so proud of how you did that and everything." And everyone was just so proud. And then I was crying, and Mary was crying, and I mean, it was really great how he did it.
This is a dramatic moment. You're standing in front of the classroom and you're saying, I am a gay American man. To tell you the truth, I don't remember exactly how I felt inside. I simply stated a historical fact that gays were persecuted by the Nazis. I stated another fact that I am gay, and I put those two facts together. And that's not a big deal to me.
But it was a big deal to the front office. The Battle of the Memos began. First, 1-2 Rodney Wilson from Principal Ronald Jones. Melville School District considers it inappropriate conduct for a teacher to discuss facts and beliefs of a personal nature in the classroom. Wilson fired back 28 pages of questions.
I asked them if a Polish person had said, as a Pole, I would have been among the persecuted groups, would that have been inappropriate classroom conduct? I asked them if a Jewish person had said that, would that have been inappropriate classroom conduct?
There were no answers. Instead, in early June, this letter from the school board's lawyers. The school district has no obligation to specifically respond to the questions and will not do so.
We got lots of things to teach, and that's not one of them that we want to have in our curriculum.
Dr. Bob Rogers is the superintendent of the Melville schools, a former captain of the baseball team at the very same high school.
But our community right now, people would not like for us to deal with this issue in our schools. They can deal with it out of the school, they can deal with it in the home, they can deal with it in support groups that are out in the community. But right now, it's our feeling that it has no place in the school.
Appropriate is the buzzword of the 90s for curriculum battles, and particularly for gay and lesbian issues.
Kevin Jennings is a teacher who writes about gay issues in the classroom.
Many people don't want gay and lesbian people in their community, in their schools, in their lives. When people say appropriate, what they really mean is, I think this is wrong. I think this person is wrong. I think that this subject matter is wrong. What I want to do is stop the silence. I have an 800-page American history textbook. That textbook does not mention the fact that gay people have ever existed in the so-called New World, either before or after Columbus. No mention whatsoever. That is wrong. Do you want to change this curriculum? Of course, I want the inclusion of all the history for all the people. But I am not bent upon radically altering the curriculum of this district or any other district. You're not saying Miss Jones over here, Mr. Johnson over there has got to teach a day on this subject. No. You're saying they should, but I'm not saying that they have to. Some of these parents are afraid of you. And one of the reasons they're afraid of you is that you're a very good teacher, that you're going to somehow recruit them. That's absurd. Absolutely absurd. What I'm saying is allow me to be an openly gay role model for gay kids and for straight kids. And if it causes one kid to stop believing that gay people are monsters, then that's a good thing.
Rodney Wilson has changed Karen Kosman's mind, but not the way he'd hoped.
If I would have been in the classroom, I would have felt really awkward.
Karen is a senior now. Mr. Wilson was one of her favorite teachers in her freshman year, but this past summer, she made her new feelings very clear in a letter to the school board.
At the end of the letter, Karen, you say, I'm sorry to say that the respect I had for Mr. Wilson no longer exists.
He was a person that I looked up to and I respected, and for me, that's something I don't believe in, and for that, I was extremely disappointed, somewhat angry.
The concern now is where does it go from here?
Karen's father is a management consultant who describes himself as a devout Christian. He's one of the outspoken critics against Rodney Wilson.
This year we're going to have a one-day study of gay and lesbian contributions in history. Next year we're going to do X+. And the following year we're going to have X++. So the fear that there'll be more presentation of gay and lesbian material in class? Because I think the concern is that to many kids, okay, if you say it over and over and over, okay, not that it would persuade them to become gay or lesbian, but get them to believe that this is an acceptable lifestyle. I mean, after all, if my teacher does it, it can't be too bad. Let me ask you both. Do you think he's a pretty good teacher?
I do.
I do too.
I have no question about that.
If he's a good teacher and gets good reports and students like him, why wouldn't he be a good role model? If I lived in a nice area, suburbia, was a good family man, well respected by the neighbors, okay, but I ran a drug cartel, would I be a good role model? Do you mean to say that running drugs is like being an announced homosexual man? I'm saying, in my mind, they are both wrong lifestyles.
In the spring, the administration will vote on tenure for Rodney Wilson. It's job security he'd like to have. Art Kosman and other parents will be looking over the school board's shoulder.
In your mind, is he on probation in some way? I will say that I will continue to watch the situation. And if he chooses to continue to teach in that manner, you would recommend what? If he chooses to teach in that manner, I, as an individual, would recommend his dismissal.
We're not trying to make this a big issue with him. We're trying to just say, Mr. Wilson, it's probably inappropriate what happened. Please don't do it again. Teach your class.
It's different now. I mean, times change. I think they should catch up with reality and face the truth.
Did you ever say, I wish this hadn't come up? I wish there'd been another way to do it? No, I don't regret it at all. I do not regret for 1 second, nor have I ever regretted that this has happened. I am a gay man. I am a very good gay teacher.
Rodney Wilson has a powerful ally in his fight to include information about gays and lesbians in history classes. The National Educational Association, with over 2 million members, has passed a resolution demanding the accurate portrayal of the contributions of gay, lesbian, and bisexual people throughout history.
There's just absolutely no point in just coming out saying I am gay. I mean, you can do that anywhere. I mean, at a bar, you can do it anywhere. As long as people don't hear it. But if it's inappropriate in school, then don't do it at school. You want to come out with your friends, say you're gay, okay, well, do so. Don't vent your frustration. Don't just amount to social media saying I'm gay. That can get you in a lot of trouble. Because your job heard about this, and it probably can get you fired. Or you can probably get you fired or in a lot of trouble. Depending on how you look at it. How well you look at it, and where you stand. And where does it go from here? Those are the things you got to look at from a different angle or a different case perspective. Depending on what you look at. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Well, years ago, about a year or two ago, we focused in on video game violence. Basically, focused in on why children should not play M-rated games. We focused in on the appropriate games that children should play. We also gave you a good example all about the use of the ESRB. We also showed you some ESRB commercials. But it turns out there's even more to this video game debate than meets the eye. Can video games really lead to these school shootings? Here's John Stossel.
Gay lately? Like most things these days, the games are better. More varied, more interesting, more violent. In this one, you win by blowing your opponent's heads off. Literally. What does this do to kids? Does this make them more violent in real life? Some politicians say yes, that the games are
luring our children into this culture of carnage.
Our children can torture victims, rip out their hearts, and then wave the bloody debris above their heads.
fatality. So what? Say the kids.
This doesn't get you into real violence?
It's not real looking, it's fake.
It's just fun. It's not like, I mean, yes, it's disgusting, but people can deal with it.
When you see Superman fly from a building in a movie, are you gonna go try to fly from a building too?
When I ask kids about this, including mine, they laugh at the idea that games would make kids do violent things. But how much do kids know?
We are teaching children to associate pleasure with human death and suffering. We are rewarding them for killing people, and we're teaching them to like it.
Dave Grossman says he knows that these games teach violence.
Every single one of our warriors are entrusted with the instruments of death.
Grossman's a former Army psychologist and lieutenant colonel who specialized in training soldiers to kill without hesitating.
In a symphony of death and destruction!
Grossman says today's video games require so much bloody killing that the military uses them to desensitize recruits, make them less squeamish about real killing.
To give them the skill and the will to kill.
The will to kill?
It is very difficult to get a human being to kill. We have to rehearse the act.
And that, he says, is what video games do.
These things are murder simulators.
Grossman's all over the place, talking to Congress.
We are keeping a lid on a pressure cooker.
To the media.
Practicing on murder simulators.
Sounding the alarm about violent games. Two are especially bad, he says. Doom and Quake. With their three-dimensional graphics and a special design that allows you to create your own battleground and your own players. Here I am. Doom and Quake were instant hits. 15 million copies have been downloaded worldwide. The terrible part of this, says Grossman, is that many of those players are kids.
And the result is we are programming many of our children to kill.
He's trained to do it.
Bingo. And how did he learn it? Through observation.
After the recent school shootings, Grossman volunteered to be an expert witness in a lawsuit filed by families of victims, demanding money from video game makers.
In every school shooting, we find that kids who pull the trigger are video gamers.
Lawyer Jack Thompson filed the suits against Doom and Quake, claiming they are partly responsible for the Paducah, Kentucky shooting, where 14-year-old Michael Carneal shot 8 of his classmates.
By virtue of the video game, Michael Carneal was turned into a mass murderer.
This boy fires 8 shots, he gets 8 hits, on 8 different kids. 5 of them are headshots. The other 3 are upper torso. Where do you get that from? The video games. They should pay. They were a necessary to the crime.
And the 2 teens who killed 12 students in Littleton, Colorado, also used Doom to practice shooting their classmates. Just as we superimposed my face, the teen gunmen, says Thompson, superimposed yearbook pictures of their classmates.
So that they could literally, for weeks in advance, not just practice shooting, but practice shooting a particular student. That's corporate irresponsibility, in our opinion. We don't understand what that has to do with the free society.
The free society? What's that have to do with this? Well, some would argue that if America is a free society, then game makers and game players and anyone who's not violent ought to be able to entertain themselves any way they want. That violent people are responsible for violent actions, not game makers. Action! You know, games don't kill people, people kill people.
It's just a game.
Todd Hollinshead, CEO of the company that made Doom and Quake, says they were just trying to make something fun and entertaining. Fun and entertainment doesn't require blood.
No, but lots of things have violence. Our games are like modern-day computer versions of Cowboys and Indians.
But it's gorier than Cowboys and Indians. It's more intense, vivid.
But it's in a context like Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner.
Oh yeah, there's lots of violence in cartoons. Do they inspire violence? Where do you draw the line? What about wrestling on TV?
Wrestling is something that adults can have, and kids shouldn't.
It's mostly kids who watch wrestling.
Kids are killing each other as they imitate what happened on wrestling.
It shouldn't be on television.
Should pornography be on television?
But I will tell you, Mr. Chairman, if the entertainment industry continues to move in the direction it's moving, one way or other, the government will act.
Act how? Congress is still debating it. Some people hold you responsible for real murders.
When you play one of our games, you're playing with a keyboard and a mouse, and you know that those images aren't real.
But people who played your game did pull real triggers and killed people.
But tens of millions of people have played Doom. Doom is probably the most played PC game of all time.
Now, what do the kids in the video game shoot at? Bullseye targets? Deer? No, human beings.
He's a guy who's got a book to sell.
Hollinshead questions claims in Grossman's book titled Stop Teaching Our Kids to Kill, like the claim that in arcades across America,
That's so disgusting.
kids are laughing and mocking,
They like dissolve into pools of blood.
deriving pleasure from human suffering.
That's not human suffering. That is a game.
That report came from the 2020 program in America.
Suffering. I mean, that's what prompted. It's what prompted the ESRB. I mean, Watch Dogs 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, Deadpool, M, Batman, M, ESRB. No one knows the ESRB. Unlike myself, I know the ESRB. We looked at the ESRB. As a matter of fact, it was one of the reasons. It was one of the reasons 30 years ago. It was one of the reasons 30 years ago that prompted. It was one of the reasons 30 years ago. I mean, did you play Mortal Kombat 30 years ago? I doubt you did. And I bet one of you kids out there realized something called the ESRB. Take a look.
One of the most vicious games is called Mortal Kombat. The objective is to finish off your opponent violently. Another method is decapitation. Critics, including the National PTA, say such video games contribute to violence in real life. And television's Captain Kangaroo says parents are not paying enough attention.
Understand that these are not harmless toys, that they can indeed cause great emotional and other damage to a child.
Congress will be asked to establish a rating system to protect children from gruesome games.
We now require warning labels on toys that can potentially damage children's bodies. Why not do so on a toy that can damage their minds?
Barry Rhodes bought the game anyway, since it takes a special code to activate the violent scenes, which he says are a part of life.
It's there, so I'm not going to try to hide my daughter from that.
Even so, the giant Sega Corporation recently introduced a voluntary system to rate video games for use by a general audience, those over 13 and over 17. But there are lots of places where youngsters can play video games without such guidance or adult supervision. So next week, the U.S. Senate will conduct hearings on ways to supervise the video industry. Bill Greenwood, ABC News, Washington.
And that is our report on World News Tonight. Later on.
Still confused? Here's one more.
On Capitol Hill, the focus was on video games, amid complaints that some of them promote the very thing that most people are trying to prevent. Video game manufacturers today issued something of a preemptive strike aimed at keeping violent and sexual images away from kids. NBC's John Cochran now.
The makers of some video games promote them as a way that guys can show how tough they are. But today, the game makers themselves blinked. Under pressure from an angry Congress and angrier parents, game makers offered a new rating system. GA for general audiences, all ages. MA13, okay for teens, but not younger kids. And MA17 for 17-year-olds and older. The timing of the peace offering was no accident. Just an hour later, the Senate began hearings on new legislation to prevent violent games from reaching kids. Senators were especially appalled by a game where a scantily clad woman is tortured.
It is a sick, disgusting video game, in my judgment. It's an effort to trap and kill women. Shame on people that produce that trash. It's child abuse, in my judgment.
The maker of the game says players can protect the victimized woman by winning the game.
Your job as the player is to identify the villains and to trap them.
Game makers admit ratings won't work unless stores and arcades enforce the new rules.
We can sit here all day and talk about morals, but the reality of the business world out there, and unfortunately in many cases, is driven by economics.
Some makers say playing games with simulated violence may actually help some teenagers who can release pent-up feelings, a theory other witnesses disputed.
How would you like to have a teenage daughter go out on a date with someone who's just watched or played 3 hours of that game?
Not much, said the senators, who vowed to press ahead with tough legislation unless the $6 billion a year video game industry cleans up its act soon. John Cochran, NBC News, Washington.
That was the whole story of the ESRB. E, everybody. T, E10. T for teen, M for mature. That's how you know. Your child's first video game. Sports and game shows. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy. And Legos. Those are E10. Your child's 10. That's what I plan on doing to my nephew, you know. He's gonna be at the stage where he wants to play video games. So I'm gonna put him at that stage to where he's now old enough to play. You know? I'm gonna put him through the rating system. If he's under 13, I stick him with E. If he's 10, I'll put him in E10. Then once he turns 13, graduate up to teen. Then once he reaches 17 or 18, now it's time for the M-rated games. Because games like Grand Theft Auto and Halo, M-rated games, those can cause violence and aggression. There are studies. There was even taught me, if you watched the episode of Dr. Phil, it was an episode about a child who was addicted to video games, and him locking his parents out of the house. with a sign saying, "I'll let you if you'll give me some Starbucks." It's like, come in here, and clean my room. It's like, get the tail wagging the dog here. A 12-year-old. Not on my watch. And he literally set him straight. I think there's a clip. You look this up, and I guarantee you there is a full episode. I'm gonna play you a portion. Here's a portion.
Computer all day and virtually playing on the computer all day and virtually ignoring his entire family.
My husband plays video games from morning till night. It's affecting all the relationships in the house. My kids are out of control, and we can't pay our bills. It's just a lot of things that all circulate from the game.
Fred loved his graphic design job, and he made really good money.
He hasn't worked in 9 months. He says it's because he can't find another job, but he's not even really looking for another job. He's just fiddling away on the computer.
I think he is addicted to the games because if the game wasn't there, I think he would get up and go get a job.
World of Warcraft takes my mind off other things.
There's actually been times where he's never gone to bed because he's played throughout the whole night.
No, sometimes you don't realize because you get so involved with something that time just kind of flies by.
We've spent New Year's Eve with him on the game, Christmas his birthdays, one anniversary. He gave me his credit card to go shopping. He played his game and I went to the mall. There's very minimal interaction. I've always felt like I'm alone in this marriage. I feel like we're just coexisting in the same house. We don't even sleep up here together. He sleeps downstairs by the computer every night.
I'm trying to deal with the game and the relationship. The game's kind of winning though. I like to not play as much. I still want to play the game. But my fears are that, yeah, I'm going to probably lose my wife eventually if I stay on it, for sure. If I lose my wife, I still want to take the kids, but I don't want to lose my kids. So yeah, it's fair.
I think if this whole situation doesn't change, it could lead to a divorce.
Well, according to Julie, Fred left his successful career due to his excessive game playing. Now, unfortunately, Julie is now solely responsible for financially supporting this family of 5.
We are beyond our means now. No matter how much I work and make, there's just no catching up.
I'm kind of in the pinch as it is, so... I mean, I don't spend anything playing this game.
I am getting really scared.
And here's another portion.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Look, I'm just. I take them where I find them. And what you're telling me is your wife and 3 children say, "I can't take it anymore." You're going to have to give that up.
We're going to play the rest when we come back.
Give us up, and you say,
"Sure." We'll play the rest when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you recall seasons ago, we focused in on violence in video games. So we focused in on the ASRB. We did some examples. We even showed you the history of the ASRB. Now we're going to focus in on video games and relationships. So far, we heard one portion from one family who says, like, if this doesn't change, we're going to lose life. So here is one from September 28, 2008 from Dr. Phil.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Look, I'm just. I take them where I find them. And what you're telling me is your wife and 3 children say, "I can't take it anymore." You're going to have to give that up or give us up. And you say, "Well, I would be so unpleasant to be around that y'all just need to go on. I'm going to let my children walk out the door over a computer game." You realize we're talking about a game here. It's not even like basketball. You don't even get to bounce it. It's a keyboard game that you're playing. Are you like a character in the game?
Yeah, you create characters in the
Yeah,
game.
and so you have like some kind of avatar or something. So you're a player in the game, and then you've met other players in the game and gotten emotionally involved with some of them. Correct? And so these were women that
you started to talk to and communicate. When you're sitting in the other room with 3 kids, he's in there flirting on the internet with some other gamer.
Right. Hiding it from me.
So you've got a 2-dimensional, unknown female, and you would rather spend time there than with a living, breathing, flesh and blood child, or wife. Not one of the 4 could register to somebody you don't even know, somebody that looks like an eagle or something on a computer screen. Does that sound?
It sounds retarded.
Well, thank you for finishing that sentence for me, because that's not good logic, right? But you know that now. You see that. Okay, look, when Bob and Tiffany's daughter was a year old, she broke her arm while Bob was supposed to be watching her. He didn't break her arm. I'm not suggesting that. But he was too busy playing that online game, EverQuest, to be responsive to the situation. I'm going to ask him about that when we come back.
There was a female that I was playing EverQuest with, and I gave her my phone number. It felt
that's enough.
nice to have some.
That's enough. I think you get the picture here. Do you not get the picture here? I mean, if you have kids, if you have a wife, you cannot walk out on your family because of a computer game. You have responsibilities. You have the light bill, you have the electric bill, the gas bill. Get kids to raise. You can't give that up because of a video game. And for crying out loud here, I'm not all one for getting rid of the video games. We have responsibilities. Like, you got kids to feed, you have a wife to please, light bill, phone bill, gas bill, the internet. You got everything. You can't give that up. What you need to do is to sit there and say to yourself, you know what? I have responsibility. I mean, it's a gaming addiction. Not just the kids. It's the adults. And even then, it's an affair of sickness. Everyone's probably over it. I mean, I play video games 1 hour a day. I don't become addicted to them. I don't stay up till like 3 o'clock in the morning playing Grand Theft Auto 5 or Deadpool or whatever. I'm basically in bed. I'm basically getting ready for bed. Or I'm going outside. I'm not in there for 6-7 hours a day playing video games. Unless there's nothing to do. It used to be. But the thing you gotta understand here is this. Turn it around for a second. That'll do. The thing that you must understand here is, these are addicting. But responsibility comes first. Believe me. What are you going to do one day when the wolves are out your door and you haven't paid the bills? You're getting evicted and you have to pay the bills. You can do your video games on the side. Your job comes first. Part-time or full-time, it doesn't matter. I mean, your wife wants a full-time job, okay, you can probably take a full-time or part-time job, but if you have kids, okay. But okay, we understand that. The thing that you gotta understand here is that you have responsibilities. You got your children to look out for. That's being negligent. What if your child broke his arm? What if your child went out in the street and you're still sitting there playing your video games and not looking out there and going, he'll be all right. Watch your children. You have responsibilities. Every day, you got your responsibilities. You got the light bill, the phone bill, the gas bill to pay. You got kids to look out for. You got to talk to your wife. I'm not saying. What I'm saying is you don't have to throw the video games away. And for the wives and girlfriends, like, you keep on telling them, hey, you either it's the Xbox or me. And for parents, you need to spend time with your kids, you know. Take it away from them and say, okay, I'll give you this back if you spend 1 hour with us. 1 hour with us every day. I mean, I get all these kids saying, oh, I want to play like 4 hours a day on Xbox. No, you need to play 1 hour of Xbox a day. Not 4, not 5, not 6, not 2, not 10, 4, not 2, just 1 hour a day. And get outside and get physically active. Spend time with your family. Spend time with your loved ones. As a matter of fact, I mean, for your kids, set up a system. If your child's 10, put them through a 10 game, like Legos. Your child's 17, okay. Your child's under 10, stick them with the E-games. There's sports games, there's game show games, like we talked about seasons ago. And believe me, I know. I mean, I want to Grand Theft Auto, but my mama told me that I couldn't. Because that was too violent and she thinks I'm going to become the next school shooter. Well, truth be told, I have GTA 5, I have some M games, and believe me, I am not a school shooter. I haven't thought of aggressive thoughts. But if it did, I would see somebody and talk to them. Even though people would think it's just a game. When in fact, it leads to people doing violent things. No research whatsoever. And when you get children that are entitled, you have to understand that those things are privileges. And if they want those things, they earn them a step at a time. The goal of commando parenting is just sticking to the plan and following through. As a matter of fact, here is a clip talking about commando parenting.
Play these games where you shoot people in these video games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're afraid that someday he might do that in the real world, right?
Yes.
How many guns are in your house?
Quite a few, but they are all locked up.
How many guns are in your house?
More than 50. My husband was a collector.
You are concerned that you have a child that might jump from virtual reality to reality and shoot people, and you have over 50 guns, including assault rifles, in your house.
Yes.
Common sense alert.
That is something that we're trying to deal with. Those all were my husband's. You can't just...
What kind of car do you have?
A Chevy Trailblazer.
There you go. Back her up to the garage. Open the tailgate while he's in school. Load them all in there. Go down to the gun shop. Have that guy come outside, take an inventory, and walk away with a hat full of money and no guns. Okay? Now, I mentioned commando parenting because we have to go back to basics, which I mentioned before, and basics are we don't reward bad behavior. Bad language from a 12-year-old is bad behavior. Violence is bad behavior. So we know he can behave well because he does when he's with you, right? Okay, so we know he can do it, but we start from zero. And here's what your Listen, I've worked with Child Protective Services for years, and here's what you're required to do. You're required to provide him a stable, safe environment. That means warm, dry, food, medical, academics, a room with a bed and a blanket and a pillow would be nice. It doesn't require posters on the wall, television, video games, computers. Those are all privileges. And if he wants those things, he earns them a step at a time. And the commitment to commando parenting is really, really important. It's total immersion commitment or you'll sabotage the plan. Must have whatever it takes mentally, 100% consistent with consequences. It's kind of akin to an intervention. You've got to create and keep a unified front with family members, anybody that's helping. You must be willing to shake things up. That means you got to change the whole situation here. The most important mission of your life has got to be to turn this thing around. Are you willing to do what I'm talking about?
I am.
If I get you help to do it, I don't think you can do it on your own.
That was I'm willing to do whatever I have to, but I just need to know how to handle what happens when the situation goes badly.
When you choose the behavior, you choose the consequences. I mean, if he decides that he wants to be oppositional, if he wants to...
Stop right there. That's a good point. When you choose the behavior, choose the consequences. Parents. I mean, otherwise, it could happen. Here's another clip. Here's another clip from that 12-year-old that did the video games. I mean, it's what can happen. Here's another example.
You, Dr. Phil.
Here's an example.
This.
Yes.
Take a look.
Because when I say shake things up, you got to go home and get control of this situation, and there's no way you're going to be able to do that. You won't stop unless she makes you stop. So you go home. He's got these controllers that he's playing. You go home, get your hammer. And take those controllers. You see that? There. Knock yourself out. That is exactly what you have to do to get this under control. It has to stop right now and you go back to zero. Are you prepared to go to this level to get this under control?
As long as...
Because you know what? You do this, how much time is he going to spend playing a video game?
9.
0. Problem solved. Now, do you want this to happen?
No.
What are you willing to do to keep that from happening?
Anything.
Because if she listens to me, this is exactly what's going to happen if you don't straighten up. And you may bully her. You may bully her, but you're not going to bully us. And I think you're really selling yourself short, because I think you're an intelligent young man, and I think you can do this and have a great amount of fun. But you need to behave better. You're better than this.
It's exactly right. The child should be behaving like this. And take it from someone who knows a lot about video games. I mean, look, like I said before, I don't spend like 6 to 8 hours playing video games. I have a job. Hell, I'm not just some guy in a red and blue suit that plays music. I have a part-time job. I'm a full-time musician and part-time chef at McDonald's. And believe me, if I had some time to play video games, like if I had some time off from the corner, from the intersection of Waldron and SPID, then so help me God, I would find the time to play some video games. But when it comes to family, I have responsibilities to look after. I have my mom and some people. And my friends down in Aransas Pass. And so believe me, I know what it's like. You have responsibilities. Don't throw away your responsibilities. Responsibilities come first. Remember that. Parents, keep teaching your children all about responsibility. And just remember one thing about commando parenting. You know, if your child doesn't if you want your child to stop, then Go ahead. Break the electronic devices. Do whatever it takes to get your child off of the games. Off of these. If you have to sell them, knock yourself out. Because while he's in school, you want to get rid of them, take it, pawn it, walk away with a hat full of money, no video games. Along with those other consoles. No video games, no nothing. Violet first. William, addicted to Xbox. Won't even spend time with his family. 4 hours a day. I mean, destroying it is one thing. He could have sold it. Sold it at the pawn shop. Walked away with a hat full of money and would have solved his problem. It's just no excuse for addicting kids with video games. Look, I get it, you know. I've been right in these kids' shoes. I really wanted to play. Like, you know, we have to get physically active every day, you know. Think about the movie Diary of a Wimpy Kid, you know. You know, I haven't watched the movie, but I've seen clips of it, and I know I forgot the characters' names. So, if you already know the characters' names from that movie, just put in the comment section, and I'll try to correct myself in the near future. But the father from the father wants the child to go out and be physically active. But instead, he decides, I'm going to play video games all day. But when the dad found out about it, he unplugged everything. Oh, you think it's funny? No TV and no video games for the rest of the summer. I'm going to unplug it. Parents, set an example for your child and kids. You out there. You have responsibilities. No ifs, ands, buts, or excuses about it. I've been right in your shoes. I really wanted to play video games, but you have homework, you have responsibilities. Like, you know, homework comes first. And look, I get it. You know, I really do. Nobody wants to go to school when they rather just sit there and play Fortnite all day. That's why kids are not going to school. Because of the video games. Everybody hates Raymond, you know. All he wanted to do was just stay home, get fake sick because he called his teacher mommy. But when in fact it's all about the video games. Take him away. Ground him. Tell your child, hey, if you don't go to school, I'm going to take away your Xbox. It will teach them, and when they get older, then they'll understand, oh, how am I supposed to punish a child? Oh, when my mom was a kid, you know, she took away my Xbox as punishment. I'm going to do the same thing for my child. In 2.5 Men, when Jake let out the seagulls, Uncle Charlie punished him for it. He can't play with the Xbox for a month. He was hard on him, made it up to him. I mean, if you're still mad about what happens, just figure out a way to deal with it. In a good way. A good and healthy way. And parents, you need to start commando parenting, you know. Bed, pillow, blanket, that's it. No posters, no video games, no nothing. Those are all privileges. And if you want those things, you have to earn them one step at a time. That's the whole commando parenting. You may not believe it, but I do. If you don't like anything I have to say, we'll tune out of this episode. Go watch another video. But every parent that watches this portion of this episode can really comment and saying, I agree with what this guy is saying, and I'm going to give him a chance and really listen. Listen. I'm a nephew, I'm an uncle, and I'm going to try to learn what it means to be a parent one of these days. Because I'm going to go out and find a woman I love, raise a family, and, you know, this, that, and the third. But I do have responsibilities put in place. Bills, everything, children. I gotta give up some things in order to provide for my child. That's being a mature parent. That's maturity. That's something your parents teach you in real life. The bottom line here is this: responsibility comes first. We'll be right back. If you really wanted to set up some categories from funny to least funny, you would create a playlist on YouTube called Least Funny to Most Funny. And Cole would be a good example here for tonight's viral break. He got fired from his job, and in part 2, he tried to get his job back by threatening him. So here's part 1 of this clip. Will my boss fire me from Cole Hirsch. 18 million views since 2016. Damn, that's a lot.
What do you want to say?
Close the door.
Close the door?
Close the door.
Okay, there's no easy way to do this. You need to get your things. Head out. 5 minutes already.
My things?
Yeah.
I just came here with my backpack today. I don't even have an office.
Well, just check around if you borrow any, like papers or pieces of paper or stuff.
I don't just carry loose leaf papers around
I
with
don't
me.
know, something that you wrote down, some notes that you clearly didn't take that would have helped you with this job, but you should probably just get your things as quickly as possible and head on out.
Okay, and then I'll see you tomorrow then?
You're fired. That's what. I don't have a cardboard box to give you to put your things in, but you can put your things in, your backpack. Yeah, you just haven't been performing well, so that's kind of it.
Is it because when I tried to ask the alumni for money, they convinced me to give them money. I gave them money.
Yeah, and not only that, you stole the corporate credit card and you were using it.
But for lunch.
Not only for lunch, which that's not how corporate credit cards work. You were paying the alumni with the corporate credit, so we're actually.
I bought them lunch, so that I bought them lunch, so then they'd pay us.
That's not how this works. So we're just going to have you leave before it becomes a bigger legal issue than it already is. Because at that point, it's it's a federal offense. You took away you stole a credit card and information.
And then I borrowed it.
You didn't borrow it. We had to find it from you. We had to get it out of you. We had that public safety come and confiscate it from you. You tried to run out of the building. So.
I thought there was because the fire alarm was going out. You wanted me to walk?
You pulled the fire alarm when we found out that you took the credit. You also left a note, like one of your loose pieces of papers. You said "You'll never catch me."
Daddy's got a tinkle.
Yeah, "You'll never catch me," and then in italics you wrote, which I don't know how you wrote in italics. How you wrote in italics is pretty impressive, but that's.
Daddy's got a tinkle.
Daddy's got a tinkle, and we all knew Cole right away. So, before we have to turn this over, head on out.
Okay. Oh, there's raisins in here. Do you have ones without raisins?
No, we don't.
I hate raisins.
You don't have an option. This is all. I can either give it to you, or you can take it, or you are just not going to have the severance package. It's a little unorthodox to have severance packages for a part-time student position, but.
Okay. Do you want to hang out later?
Yeah, that's fine after 5, but.
Okay. I'll see you, dude. I'll pick out the raisins, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine.
You think this is the end of it? Well, guess what? There's a sequel. But first things first, here's some reasons why you shouldn't call in sick at jobs where you shouldn't.
Sylvia speaking, how can I help you?
Hi, this is Jordan calling. I just started there last week, and it's like really nice and stuff, and some of the boys are going out fishing tomorrow, so I'm not going to be able to make it in for my shift. I was just wondering if I could take like a sick day or something.
I'm sorry, first of all, your first name was?
Jordan?
Jordan?
Yep.
And you had just started last week?
Yeah.
So, I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be an unapproved absence. You're too new, I believe, for a sick day. And
Well, I'm not actually sick. I just need a day off to go fishing because it's so nice, and I can't really. I don't want to give up the job because it's good bread for me, right?
I'm not disagreeing with you, but it's not a good legitimate reason to miss your shift from work. So it's going to be unapproved, and just so that you're aware, as far as our policy goes, that's probably a discipline.
Well, what would be a good excuse? Like, can you just write something down for me?
No, I can't. I'm an assistant manager, and I could be the one that has to hold you accountable for it. So no.
You're a manager. Oh.
Yeah, not a good person to ask for an excuse. Sorry, and where do you work in the store?
Electronics.
Electronics. Oh, so you're my associate at that. I'm Sylvia, and I'm your SWAT leader.
Okay.
So I'm the manager in charge of you. So I can tell you it is definitely unapproved if you do not show up for your shift.
So I can't go fishing?
No, you can't go fishing.
It's just so nice out.
Yeah, that's one of the responsibilities.
Sure, you can't do me one? Just this?
No, I'm sorry, I can't. And just, I mean, it doesn't look very good
It probably won't be busy though.
Jordan?
Yeah.
You're not looking very good to me right now. Not at all.
Well, I look good. I just don't sound good. I'm confused. Are you FaceTime? Can you see?
It's not a very good first impression.
Oh, I've met you before. I didn't know you're a manager. You don't remember me?
No, I may have met you at the interview process, but I mean, we do a lot of them, so I don't remember every face, no. So I'm going to tell you at this point, if you don't show up for your shift, it is an automatic unapproved, which will be a first level written discipline. And within your first 90 days, that is definitely not a good thing.
How many of those do I get?
You're missing the point of what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
Okay? So you need to be here for your shift.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
You shouldn't be calling it sick when you don't work, even if your name's on the payroll, motherfucker. Sorry, brother. Okay, here is that sequel that y'all have been waiting for. From that same person who got fired by the name of Cole.
Hey, dude. How you doing?
Fine. What are you? What's going on?
Nothing. I was just
What?
I've just been like hanging out because I was just by the office.
Why are you by the office? You know you don't work here.
I know. It was
It's been
just
like 2 weeks.
It's what?
It's been like 2 weeks. You haven't found something?
Well, I thought you said maybe I could come back in 2 weeks. I thought you said maybe I could work here in 2 weeks.
Why would I say that? I think we would have your position filled in 2 weeks.
Oh, I thought you meant by me.
No, why would we? I'm firing you.
Again?
No, because you're not on payroll. I'm not gonna rehire you to put you to fire you again. There's no point in that. So, you know, someone's already filled your position, and that's kind of it. So,
Who is he?
who?
Who?
I can't give that information out. You know I can.
Well, maybe. It's a nice shirt you got there. It would be a shame if something happened.
Oh, are you threatening? Are you trying to get your job back and you're threatening me?
No, I'm just saying it would be a shame if that shirt.
It's fine,
would
but I have money, so I can easily go and get a new one because I have a job. So if anything bad happened to this shirt, I can get a new one because I have money. Unlike you, who hasn't been trying. What have you been doing for the past 2 weeks?
I've been at Subway.
At Subway? Are you applying to Subway?
I feel if they see me there enough, they'll be like, "Hey, guy."
That's how you become a bouncer. That's not how you become someone at Subway.
I'll be the Subway bouncer.
There's no need for, in this neighborhood, there's no need for that. Stop. What are you doing? You can't do that.
I'm gonna call.
Who? Who are you calling?
Your boss.
My boss?
Can I please work here?
You can't. You're almost done.
With what?
With school. Like, you're done. You've been like, you won't even be able to work here for another month. You're not a student anymore.
Enjoy it.
What?
You're not getting your job back. I'll be a referral. I'll be a referral.
What's your girlfriend's name again?
I do not. First of all, you know that, and I don't need to disclose that information.
It'd be a shame if something.
Nothing's gonna happen.
Okay.
Oh, God. Threatening. If you say something happened to your shirt. Okay, what's your girlfriend's name? If you say something happened to her. God. That's scary. You don't threaten your former boss to get your job, man. Oh, that's a nice shirt. I'm gonna wear it, I'll get my job, man. What's your girlfriend's name? I'm gonna cheat on you. I'm gonna steal your girlfriend. Seriously though, if you've been fired, go find another job. Don't threaten your former boss to go get you. Wait. Be ashamed something happened to you. Nothing's gonna happen. That's a nice shirt. The time of humor is great. These two really do this regally. I laugh and I joke. The boss trying to hold back the laugh. Look at shit. Daddy's got a tinkle. And let me ask the council, but any person with at least one rain cycle till this is two friends effing around making a funny video. I'm glad welcome to part 3. That was the most unorthodox conversation. First the shirt, then the girlfriend. This dude means business. Ooh. Then the shirt, then girlfriend. Okay. Oh my gosh. That's all for this edition of Give Me a Break Wednesday. We'll see you again on Give Me a Break Friday. Follow us here at YouTube at Give Me a Break. Stop bullying, speak up. Concentration, not strength. No jaywalking. Good night.